regions in Nigeria to test their strength and know, hey, people with oil, let them drink their oil and sell it.
So is that to
all
say
over
that...
the world, all over the world is based on knowledge. The richest man in the world does not sell oil, does he?
So does it mean we cannot test our strength and growth
of course,
coming together? We must first of all separate before coming together?
Don't separate.
Given those ethnic-based...
Develop powers. Allow them to develop at their pace. If you do that, Enugu will develop its electricity using coal.
I'm a little surprised that you do not think that granting autonomy to local government is one path to actually devolving powers to them. Because one would think that if you're autonomous, you have your own money, you can do what you want to do, and who knows, you'll be able to grow what it is that you have.
That's why I've said autonomous and resource controlling. I've used two words to capture what you have said.
And yeah, you said resource controlling. They're not resource controlling now.
Are they?
No, they're not. But at least they have whatever resource it is they're getting from the center. They control it.
No. Don't allow... You see, this rent-seeking mentality will never get you to anywhere. Anybody that is not creative, who has ready means of income from a particular source that you have not worked for anyway, not going to make progress. In Yoruba land, people believe that beneficiaries of a testamentary disposition, that's a will, who don't work hard, will always have recourse to that estate and deplete it. Whereas
that doesn't happen in every case.
It doesn't, but it
doesn't happen in every case. So there's no guarantee. It could also be that they could leverage on it and build on it.
No, but for government, there must be certainty. It must be clearly written and spelled out in a constitution. That is why we don't trust you whether you will commit crime or not. That's why we have a code. Now, in case you do this, this is the punishment. Don't rely on people's goodwill to run a country. It's not going to happen. That's why, I mean, it amuses me when people say that our problem is not the constitution. It's not the system, but the operators. How are you going to ensure 160 million Nigerians behave reasonably? All over the world, you have deviants. That's why you have laws that whip them into line.
All right, Mr. Bisadegui, a legal practitioner and the public affairs analyst, thank you for coming on this morning.
It's my pleasure.
We'll return after this break. Please join us again.
Proposal as offered to the nation will amount to creating state within a state, and it will erode the authority of state governors. Because when you have state governments creating local governments, giving political life to local governments, and the local governments derive financial muscle from other sources outside the source of their creation, I think it introduces a lot of confusion into the federalism that we are trying to improve upon. With that purpose, I think it is important that if we cannot take local government away from the constitution and let states manage their local governments the way they wish as administrative units of their states, then we should leave the constitution the way it is.
Mr. Accountant.
Sir.
I can see we have 4 more people on our staff list. Do you have the slightest idea how much this is going to cost me?
Not a kobo, sir.
Do you think I'm joking here?
No, sir.
So, who is going to pay them?
GIS will.
GIS?
Yes. Graduate Internship Scheme will, sir.
Tell me more about it.
Yes is another innovative way the federal government seeks to empower youth and women by getting them jobs and skills they need to make a living. Private and public organizations will mentor graduates for a period of 1 year. Interns will be paid by the federal government through the GIS program. Interested companies and organizations should check the GIS website for more information. SHOPE, Graduate Internship Scheme, brought to you by SHOPE and implemented by the Federal Ministry of Finance.
this special time, there is no greater virtue than sharing the nourishment of Peak in special Ramadan packs. Ramadan Kareem from Peak.
Welcome back. We're continuing our focus on state of the nation. So many matters going on, not just that of the local government. You also do have registration of the APC. You remember that matter going back and forth, and you also do a number of issues really within politics, economy. Well, Mr. Ahmed Ismail joins us this day from studios in Abuja. He's the chairman, All Progressives Youth Forum. Good morning and thank you for joining us today. But let's start off with, first of all, this local government matter. What's your perspective? Having seen the way the House of Reps have gone, and the Senate, as a matter of fact, what do you think?
Well, good morning, Chamberlain, and good morning, Salai and Mope, and thank you very much for having me again. The issue of the local government autonomy, I think, has raised a lot of controversy all across the nation, and I'm personally of the opinion that the Constitution as it is already recognizes a certain number of local governments. And this argument that there are only two tiers of government, the state and the federal, in the Constitution, and therefore the National Assembly should not give autonomy to local governments. Personally, to me, it's not a viable argument, because what you have is there are two tiers of government created by the Constitution, the federal government and the state government, and what would stop the Constitution from creating a third tier of government? And I do agree that the Constitution in itself is self-contradictory, because subsection 6 of section 7 of the Constitution clearly states that the National Assembly has the right to make statutory allocation to local governments. And then in subsection B of subsection 6 said that the state houses of assembly have the right to make statutory allocation to local governments. So what it's basically saying is that, what is the autonomy all about? Is it administrative autonomy? Is it political autonomy? Or is it fiscal autonomy? In this case, what it's saying is that the federal government, just as it gives the state government's allocations, monetary allocations, then it has the right to give the other tiers of government, which is recognized by the national constitution. If we had a case where the states have their own constitution, then I can understand the argument that they should be completely cut off from getting allocations straight from the National Assembly. But as it stands, I think the state houses of assembly have the authority to create local governments and give them political authorities. But since there's only one general main source of finance in the whole country, that is the federal government, I think the local government should have that fiscal autonomy as well from the state government.
You know, it brings to mind the concept of federalism, which a whole lot of people have come to talk about. If you look at Germany, India, the United States, and some others, we realize that we don't have similarities outrightly in all of these countries. So coming back home, when we talk about decentralization of powers, isn't that what the local government is about in this whole makeup in the country?
That's exactly right. I think that's exactly right, because government, democracy is the government of the people. Sovereignty truly belongs to the people, and there's no way you can find people